Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome, everybody, to the glorious episode of the Put on Raiders podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, along with Ryan Holmes, and we are podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle, and Ryan's is RHOLM22. It was the Turn Off Raiders podcast today. If you watch this team play tonight, it's just really putrid. It's like it's elementary. Like it's almost like when you're playing Madden and like maybe your son grabs your like 3-year-old just grabs the controller from you and doing all this crazy stuff. Like that's what it's like when he calls plays. Josh McDaniels. It's just really, I mean, I guess that meeting they had, Ryan, didn't help. Where they aired all their grievances out.
No, the airing of the grievances. And you had texted me about it, and you asked if I thought it meant anything. I said no. And obviously, the proof is in the pudding. It meant nothing. They just when you think they've hit rock bottom, they play another game and it goes down another level. The ship is sinking quickly, and they're taking on water. And Josh McDaniels has no clue how to fix it.
And this is a game where the defense, they're not a lot of resources. A lot of resources aren't on that defense as far as cash flow goes. They did whatever they could in this game. They're not great on defense. We know that. Max Crosby is a one-man wrecking crew. He's nuts. Came in with the Ron Artest jersey on today, so he was ready for battle. No question about it. But they got some turnovers. They got a pick six. They did whatever they could to kind of keep them in the game. They tried to as well, but the holes as the game goes on, the holes show up. You can't, Tillery. You mentioned Tillery and Nichols or whatever, and trying to battle, the running game is not going to work. I mean, you can run the ball on those guys all day. It's just not good. Not good football all the way around.
Yeah, you're kind of seeing accumulation of all the holes in this team showing up at the same time. They can't stop the run. Robert Spillane had a couple interceptions. Robert Spillane's not a starting linebacker on a decent team. Like he's running by ball carriers, he's missing tackles, not having Diablo hurt. Masterson goes out. They're behind the 8 ball at the linebacker position. They don't have a starting linebacker on this roster, and it's something we've talked about through the last 2 off seasons. They barely have a starting defensive tackle on this roster, and now you're seeing teams realize that this is like visions of 2006 again, where teams realize the offense is so bad. All they have to do is run the ball twice, get to 3rd and short. Raiders are going to leave guys wide open on 3rd and short.
Yep.
And then if you kick enough field goals, you're going to win the game. As long as you don't turn the ball over, and the Lions turned it over 3 times, it still didn't matter. At some point, this is all on Josh McDaniels. He has his players on this roster. He gutted this roster from 2 years ago. And as I tweeted out, the contracts this regime has given out, for the most part, of all look horrible at this point. They gave Carr the extension with a no-trade clause. They got no compensation. They extended Renfro. They don't even use him. They extended Waller. They got rid of him. They signed Bilal Nichols. He does nothing. Chandler Jones, he does nothing. Robert Spillane, yeah, he was cheap. He looks like a backup linebacker at this point. And you can just go down the list. They signed Van Rotten and let him win the right guard job. He's a turnstile. And
Did you hear
extend Jacobs? Like where's the contract other than Adams on this team where you can clap your hands and say good job front office, because it doesn't exist.
Did you hear when Van Roten made one block and then Troy Aikman said,
"Yeah,
he's been playing.
Oh, he's playing well."
Oh my god!
Turn on the film, Troy.
Talk about being disconnected to your job. But I think the biggest thing too is like every quarterback move, and it's a quarterback-driven league. Every quarterback move they've made has not worked. They've been horrible. They signed Carr. That was a year where you should have forced Carr to play on that contract and see where it was kind of light a fire, see where it took you. Then you don't end up getting any compensation. You bring in 3 of the most immobile, inaccurate. Quarterbacks in NFL history. I mean, when the Raiders put that picture on Twitter of those 3 quarterbacks, I was like, wow, this is really the quarterback room for the Las Vegas Raiders. Jimmy's supposed to come in and be like, "Hey, Mr. Red Zone, gonna fix all these issues." That didn't happen either. The pass he threw to Devontae Adams, or tried to, in the end zone after
I
the
mean, he
quick
threw to
change.
Kirby Joseph. He didn't throw it to Ponte.
I'm like, dude, I'm like, cousin. Like, I mean, that's you can't get worse than that. Like, you really can't get worse. That's probably one of the worst passes I've seen. That was Walter. You talked about Andrew Walter. That was Andrew Walter-esque as far as that goes. And he's gonna play only because of the money. Like, this is like a really bad situation. And Josh Jacobs, his comments today, he said something about along the lines of, somebody asked him about the offense, and he said that's not my job as far as like being more creative or finding ways to score points. I mean, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. It is so crystal clear that, like, yes, we went to this game knowing that we're going to lose this game, knowing that it's going to take a miracle for them to win this game. But as the game went on, they just could not. How many passes were even completed to a wide receiver? Just like two. Like what?
Two. Three now. I think Renfro had two, so four. Maybe four.
Renfro had two. Adams had one, and then
Myers had one,
and Myers had one. So he had four. People like AJ Brown and Philly has like four in the first possession. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? It's just sad. And then you look at a guy like Laporta doing things for Detroit, and we have an 87 on our team who they can't find the ball to at all too. So it's a mess. It's kind of rinse and repeat, but like we're covering the squad for the podcast, and we got to just giving you our honest takes about it. But it's really the depths of how bad it is. It's not NFL football. Like, it's not even NFL football at all. Like, no matter what, you could have the 85 Bears and this offense still wouldn't be acceptable.
Yeah, I was talking about contracts. I didn't even mention the contract they gave Jimmy Garoppolo, and the fact that right before the season started, not only did they have him in basically a prove-it-year deal, they pushed it into next year by opening up cap space, which they still haven't done to Colton Miller, by the way, which I keep talking about. But they didn't have to do that. They decided at the end of training camp, you know what, we're good. Not only are we going to keep Jimmy this year, we're going to push all that money into next year. And we're not even talking about the Brian Hoyer contract where they basically guaranteed him money for 2 years. Brian Hoyer is getting cut and he's getting paid next year by the Raiders like $2.5–3 million. So yeah, I mean, all around it comes back to the quarterback decisions. A lot of people wanted to move on from Carr. That was the right decision. They made the wrong decision by going to Jimmy Garoppolo. We've been preaching they needed to go young. They needed to go and get a quarterback. The problem with this franchise is every year since Al Davis was here into the Mark Davis era is they want to win every year, and they've never really done a rebuild right. They tried to do it with Reggie McKenzie, and then they kind of sped up the process once 2016 hit, but they've never done it right. And that's why they're always chasing the rebuild, because they've never bottomed out fully, drafted the quarterback, and built around the quarterback. And that's what you need to do in the NFL to win. I'm at a point now where, like, I don't care about Jimmy Garoppolo anymore. Bench him, get him off this team. He doesn't give you the best chance to win. Find out we have an Aiden O'Connell. If you're going to lose, you might as well lose with the rookie quarterback and find out. I don't believe he's the answer long term. But this team needs to bottom out at this point and try to get a top 4 or 5 pick. I believe they're sitting at 8 right now.
Yeah.
A loss to the Giants next week puts them in the top 5 most likely, because the Giants will pass them. And just see where this goes at the end of the year. Yeah. The worst place they can be at the end of the year is at 7 or 8 wins. That's the worst place this franchise could be at the end of the year.
Yeah, and then the thing about it is, are these two individuals going to be allowed to draft that quarterback? They kind of.
I would say no.
I would say no. So I mean, I think that I know Hondo Carpenter said that he's a 95% chance he comes back, but if they have the top 3 pick, like there, I mean, like, and this is if you're going to, I mean, we are making projections on this quarterback class to see who comes out. But if you ever were going to do it, and if you're ever going to like kind of bottom out, or just not be competitive this year, it's like, this is the year to probably do it, because you have the prospects are there. So, and then I don't know. I mean, I was in Twitter Spaces saying, hey, you know what, especially with that second round pick with Levis there, like, go ahead and grab him and see what happens. I mean, I can't tell you last time the Raiders had a quarterback who threw 4 touchdown passes in one game. And now it's only one game. I don't know where Levis is going to be down the road, but like if you're a Titans fan, you're like, hey, wait a minute. Damn, maybe we got somebody here. Like, you never know. So that moment hasn't clicked for the Raiders yet. They need to make that. It's not even a sacrifice. It's just the way you build football teams right now is to draft that quarterback and then build around them. You can do it. Everything if everything goes correctly with the right GM, right head coach, right quarterback, a head coach combination, things can turn quickly and become really positive really fast. But you gotta go out there and shoot that shot first.
Yeah, and I just look at, again, if you just look at the draft class, it's not producing. This front office hasn't done. I mean, I guess you could say Jacoby Myers has kind of worked out, but
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers is a possession receiver in the middle of the field that you're paying $11 million to over the next 3 years, which is a little pricey, but he's probably worth that in today's NFL, working as a number two.
Mhm.
But just look at the game today. They got the running game going on one drive. Other than that, they couldn't run the football. Trey Tucker was MIA, nowhere to be found. DeAndre Carter can't field a kickoff. They decided to play Hunter Renfrow more today than they had all week. They still couldn't figure out how to get him the ball. Devontae Adams had one catch for 11 yards. Garoppolo missed him twice for long touchdowns, just completely threw one ball out of bounds. You can't throw that ball out of bounds, out of the end zone. That was a 99-yard touchdown. Missed him on the 60-yard touchdown. Couldn't figure out how to get the ball to Jacoby Myers. Like, they couldn't get the ball to Michael Mayer. It's almost like it's just a randomly generated play caller on the sideline, and then like they don't know what's going on. Like there's no rhythm to the offense. There's no, hey, let's call plays to get guys open in space. Let's get the ball to these guys based on. It's like they don't know what coverages they're going to be facing. They don't know what plays to dial up to beat those coverages. It's like they're just calling a play and hoping it works and crossing their fingers on the sideline.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be an offensive guru. Like, Tom Brady needs to say something to Mark Davis. Like, I know the smarten up thing, and Mark Davis doesn't want to move on from, but it gets worse every week, and this offense can barely get a first down at this point, let alone score a touchdown.
Yep, exactly. And then just the confines of the offense where like everything is within 20 yards. It's so tight. But then even when you get somebody behind a cornerback, like his accuracy is just so bad. Like he cannot get it there. And I still think even on the INT through, if he throws it to the back pylon, maybe he has a chance to come up with that ball on Devontae Adams, but he just lobs it right. He throws a very interceptable ball. I'll put it to you that way. With the way I think
Very soft.
It's very soft. So like even quarterbacks who struggle to catch can catch those passes. So I mean, I know a lot. I know Raider fans are frustrated. I know because like, and then on top of it, it's just a guy who Raider fans loathe. Like they don't like him at all. From day one, they didn't like this move. I try to give him the chance. They had these leads last year. I thought maybe they could build on it from last year. He's getting his guys in here, and then I think it's time when I saw a picture when they showed the video of I think it was Brad Holmes is the GM of the Lions. Like, let's just find that guy. Let him do his thing. Let him hire the head coach and take it from there. Like, stop this whole chasing somebody else's greatness, trying to rekindle old school Gruden. Getting Jack Del Rio because he's from Hayward. Like, stop looking for those connections and then just let the GM go out there and find the best coach. Hopefully, he has a terrible press conference and they end up winning games because that seems like the way it goes now. But like at the end of the day, like that's what I mean. Like, go find. Like I think Agnew is the assistant GM in with the Lions. Like, you got to find people with successful situations and see if you can bring those guys in, because what's happening, what you're clout chasing these other franchises that are just, it doesn't work that way. I mean, you would have never hired Ziegler if you didn't have Josh McDaniels. So like, to stop doing this stuff, and then maybe you could turn it around. But like right now, they need a GM first. I know that people are all over the head coaching part of it, but they need a GM, general manager, who knows what the fuck he's doing. Sorry.
Yeah, see, I see a lot of people that are like, well, Ziegler's just doing his job. He's getting the players Josh wants.
No, that's not his
Yes,
job.
that is part of the GM's job, but it's still the GM's job to be able to say, no, we're grading these players better. These players are better fits, and giving players to the coaching staff as well. If the GM's job is just to bend over for the coach, then why even have a GM? The coach should report to the GM. That's how most functional organizations run. They don't report to the owner. Where I'm assuming Josh McDaniels probably reports directly to Mark Davis.
Yes.
There probably is no chain of command, but they put it right there on the screen during the game. The rookie contributions the Lions are getting from their first 4 picks. Just think about that. They had Jamar Gibbs, Laporta, Brian Branch. I'm drawing a blank on who the fourth, Jack Campbell, the fourth guy. Those guys are all playing a major role on a team that's going to win their division.
Yep.
And we're over here crossing our fingers, hoping that by year 3, Tyree Wilson can be an average NFL player. Like, you can't have those kind of drafts. You have these guys for 4 years from the second round on, and 5 years in the first round. And really 4, because if they don't really hit, you don't want to pay that. You don't want to pick up the 5th-year option. You have a 4-year window with these guys. If it's going to take you 2 or 3 years to develop them, draft somebody else that can come in and play, because most of these teams aren't re-signing the majority of their draft class when it comes up. You're re-signing the guys that are like solid to above average starters or depth pieces that you can sign on the cheap. I'm tired of waiting. And Jacorian Bennett, what is he doing? Like, Jacorian Bennett was a week 1 starter. They raved about him in camp, and he looks like he's never played football before. He's whiffing. He's not covering guys. He's running around like a chicken with his head cut off on defense. And again, a guy gets behind him and he's jogging after him. Like, where is that 4.3 speed when you miss the tackle and let the guy get around you? Byron Young, MIA, inactive. Byron Young has been a disaster of a draft pick. He hasn't done anything all year in a single game other than get knocked on his ass. I'm telling the truth. Like, Tyree Wilson, he might be good someday, but like, by the time he's good, what does it matter? Like, you're going to get 1 season of production or 1.5 seasons of production out of him, and then you got to pay him. You're not going to pay him at that point unless he turns into a stud. Bernie, what was Bernie doing running around out there? Chris Smith lined up as a gunner today and was the easiest guy to block on the field because he can't run. Like, trying to watch him run down the field and cover punts, it's like, you don't have anyone else on the roster. Like, why don't you just put DJ Turner out there? Why did they activate DJ Turner and put 6 wide receivers up if they're just going to play Renfro?
And then DeAndre Carter, great job on the return, right? Of course. So it just
keeps getting worse.
It keeps getting worse, and it's every week, and it just I don't know. I mean, I give Max and the veterans like him and Devontae and Josh Jacobs a lot of credit, man. They are really Colton Miller. Those guys, just the real pros on this team. Like, hats off to you, man, because like, you guys are really doing a great job. Because I cannot in any way like it's hard to come to work when it's this bad. I mean, it's hard to come to work when it's this bad.
I mean, were Nate Hobbs and Amik Robertson playing rock, paper, scissors on the sidelines to see who could take turns getting cooked on every drive? Like, Amik Robertson was horrible tonight, and Nate Hobbs wasn't any better. Nate Hobbs can't run. Like, you can't play. They played a lot of man today, which was weird because they haven't played a lot of man before. And Nate Hobbs had no chance guarding Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then he just kept running an over route out of the slot, and no one ran with him. They left him wide open like 3 times. So,
didn't they run with him like 12 yards down the field? Can't make a play on him. I love it.
I mean, Nate Hobbs, honestly, at this point, is either a safety or a cover 2 boundary corner. Like, I know he's a good tackler in the slot, but he can't cover in the slot. He can't play man in there. Yeah. And if the Raiders want to play man, which I don't know why they went to man this week when they've been playing zone for the last 3 or 4 weeks, but they did. They played a lot more man, and you saw the results of it. Like, we say the defense played well. They gave up 486 yards. And how many drives did the Lions go down and score on? They kicked 4 or 5 field goals and scored a couple of touchdowns.
They could have scored. They could have scored every single possession. But they, almost.
I mean, it's not like they were holding the 3 and outs and forcing punts. Yeah, they held them in the red zone, but they let them go down to the red zone every time, unless Jimmy threw it to them. But all the holes on this team are there, and as the injuries pile up, as this ship starts sinking, some of these guys are going to make business decisions. It's going to get worse. a lot sooner than it's going to get better. And they have the hard part of their schedule is right in front of them. It's coming up after
Yeah.
they play the Giants. You think that Jets defense isn't licking their chops to play this Raiders offense? Like they may not score a touchdown in that game.
This is like the Jets defense against the Raider offense is like this is
It's
like
like
where
Mike Tyson against
Glass
the
Joe.
warm up guy. Yeah, Glass Joe. That's basically what it's going to be.
It's these are the games where like defenders try to get their and try to get their incentives in these games. They try to because they try to get the multiple picks, all the sacks and everything like that because you know what's coming as far as that goes. But it's just bad, dude. It's bad. It's bad. I mean, people are still, people are going back and forth with me on Twitter about stuff. It's pretty funny. But like as far as this goes, I mean, they're just really it's a bad football team in every sense of the world. And then and we're almost getting to the point of the season where my favorite part of the Raiders season where you see the street corners come in, the street linebackers come in every year because they have no depth and because they can't draft and they can't do anything like that. You got somebody who's on the couch coming to play the Blake Martinez's of the world, Pokemons to come off the couch to play linebacker, to play defensive tackle, to play cornerback especially. We can never have corners who finish the season with the Raiders.
Do they watch film? Like does the offensive line coach and Josh McDaniels not see what a disaster Van Rotten has been? Like you can't. I know it's Jordan Meredith, but at some point you got to try something else. And this is what's 3-5. This is 8 weeks in a row where they haven't tried to really do anything different within the offense. They just keep running the same offense and they just think it's going to work and it's not. And I'm not sure that Josh McDaniels can make the corrections that need to be made to get this offense moving. And we saw Jimmy Garoppolo right now is he's seeing ghost Sam Darnold style back there. His feet are super happy. He can't go through any reads. If the first guy's not there, he's panicking. And then the offensive line's not really holding up. It's not, and they can't run the ball. So, like, how is this offense going to get better? The only chance you have is, and I'm not saying Aiden O'Connell is going to go in there and be good, but at least you're going to know. And at least he might give you a chance to throw the ball down the field a little bit. But, we didn't see the Trey Tucker reverse, so he did change up the first 15 play calls this week. But
if you were going to do this, Ryan, why not just pay Stidham peanuts and do this? Like, I mean, if you're going to do this, like, just pay.
The answer to that is Josh McDaniels probably told Stidham he would not be the starter, so he's like, peace out, because Josh wanted to go get Tom Brady or Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, I don't know, and all of a sudden, keep watching the Broncos every week get better and better after that 70-point loss. Like, it's not like I mean, I'm not saying they're a good team, but all of a sudden that game might not be a easy win for the Raiders either. So, but yeah, I mean, they need a program builder of the highest degree. I'm not sure, how they're gonna get that, but they desperately need that to revive this franchise because this ain't it. This really.
Well, what do they do with Garoppolo next year? Like, they can't trade him. Like, no one's going to trade for that.
But after next year, say they draft, say we get lucky and we draft. I'm just going to throw a name out there, Drake May. They draft Drake May. They can after 2024, Garoppolo can just go off into the sunset. Correct?
I wouldn't even want him on the roster.
Like, I know, but I don't know
if Josh isn't here. Why would Jimmy be here? You would have to designate him a June 1 cut. Maybe I don't have the numbers in front of me. It's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like spread it over 2 years. You probably spread $24 to $28 million over 2 years. You're still looking at, $12, $13, $14 million for each of the next 2 years. But you got to do something. Like,
let me see this real quick.
If you draft Drake May, you're playing Drake May. There's no reason to have Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster.
Absolutely. I want to see.
So
you can play Drake while you playing Drake. I don't care. I want Drake playing if that's the case.
You can talk about what this regime inherited, but this regime
didn't inherit.
If they leave after this year, just wait and see what kind of dead money is going to be sitting on this cap, and especially if Devontae at the end of the year says I'm out. Devontae was as frustrated as you could ever see spiking that helmet on the sideline today, and rightfully so. He had a big drop in the game that could have converted a third down. But when you're wide open for 2 long touchdowns and the quarterback, and Josh can't even call a play to get Devontae Adams the ball. Like, that's a problem. Wait till
So,
if he demands a trade in the offseason, wait to see what the cap looks like there between him and Garoppolo if neither one of them is on this roster next year.
that's crazy.
And the Chandler Jones is still sitting on the cap for another, I think it's like $12 million next year as well. I mean, you might have $40+ million on the dead cap just from those three players.
His dead cap says for 24 for 2024 is on spot rack is 28 million for Garoppolo.
If you do a June 1 and spread it out, you can split it in half, but you're still looking at 14 million, $15 million.
Yeah.
So they have to find a way to keep Devontae happy and figure out how to keep him on this roster in 2024.
Yeah.
And get a quarterback that he wants to play with. And honestly, at this point, if Devontae Adams says, you know what, I'm 31 or whatever, I want to play out the last 3 or 4 years, I need to go. And if the Raiders go in another direction and they go with a rookie quarterback, then you might need to move on from Devontae Adams for his sake. Not that I would do that, but like at some point you have to respect him. If you can get a first-round pick back in return in the offseason.
Yeah.
But they can't run it back with this group on offense, with the money they've spent on this offense, and with this front office and coaching staff. Like,
no.
What has this coaching staff done that gives you any belief that they can turn this thing around? Because I can't think of one thing.
Was Mark at the game? Did they? I was watching the game, but like, did they ever show Mark at all today in this game?
I don't remember seeing him on the telecast.
I'm either. So yeah, it's.
Where's Vince Evans? Like, call up Vince Evans. He might be available. Where's Wade Wilson?
Yo, Vince Evans was good for that long ball though, cousin. He would have hit Devontae twice. He was good for that long ball. He could move too. Vince Evans, I love.
I mean, Chase Garbers makes that throw.
What's Campbell doing? What's Campbell doing? I think a little Campbell, Jason Campbell. There you go. Before he got hurt, but before the collarbone, he was balling for the collarbone.
I mean, Charles Woodson did tweet out during the game something. Maybe I'm remembering wrong, but maybe I think he said, "Please make it stop" or something like that.
I mean, I don't know.
Charles, talk to Mark.
You actually have access. You actually have access. You can have the Tuck Rule brothers can sit down with Mark and make something happen.
I mean, you might be looking at a game next week at home against the Giants where the Giants fans aren't going to travel because they're all beat up and they're not any good. And you might have Raiders fans just say, screw it and stay home. There might be empty seats in that stadium for the first time in a long time since it's been open, honestly.
I would say this. I think there'll be more Giant fans than we think because Giants fans do love to come to Vegas. New Yorkers love to come to Vegas. So I do think even though the Giants are bad, I think they make the trek. It's funny because like, can you imagine the broadcast team? They're gonna be like, "Damn, yo, we got the Giants. We got the Giants and Raiders."
The Giants average 11 offensive points a game, and I think the Raiders average 14.6.
Oh my god!
It might be the lowest over/under in the history of Vegas. Like, what's that over/under going to be? 30?
I don't know. Can you imagine two two of the?
I might take the under.
No, seriously, the quarterback money too spent on those two guys. Oh my god, you spent all that money on Jimmy G and all that money on Daniel Jones. Daniel
Jones is like, yeah, I'm hurt. Like all the reports on Sunday were like, he won't be back until the Cowboys game. They got the bye coming up, and as soon as Tyrod got hurt, and they looked at the schedule and said the Raiders. Oh, I'm good. I'm cleared. I'm practicing. Okay. He got healthy real quick when he saw the Raiders on the schedule.
I mean, how many yards for Saquon in this game? Jesus Christ.
They can't stop the run. So, I mean, literally, Saquon. Like I said, if you're the opposing team, all you need to do right now is run the ball on first and second down, get the third and short. Don't get any holding penalties. They're going to leave someone wide open in the intermediate to short area, pick up the first down, kick 4 or 5 field goals, and you're going to win the game. I mean, you don't have to even hold the whole. That's what the Lions tried to do. The Bears did it last week. Exactly, but you don't have to even hold at all because who are you going to hold? Just block the guy in front of you. Like if you hold, you should. Max. Well, they won't call it, but they won't call it. I mean, you could hold Max. It won't ever call. All right, Raiders. Raiders fans. Raiders lose again. This is only week 8. We got 9 more weeks of it. 9 more weeks, but if it leads to this regime being relieved of their duties and gives me one of these quarterbacks from college that I can act and a GM who knows what he's doing, all those things, maybe it'd be worth it. Maybe this is what is necessary for the Raiders to actually do what they're supposed to do. But on the other side, we do have these new shirts. This is one of the shirts.
Ryan's is in the mail. We got the Student Body Right shirts for USC podcast, and we got the Put On Raiders podcast shirts coming out as well. Just let me know. On the Patreon, the store's gonna be set up soon, but you can always just DM me and we'll get those shirts to you as well.
Do I watch the all 22? I can't, right? I can't. Not this week.
Just do one. Just do one. Just do one. Just do one of the
One play.
One play of each, like special teams, one play of offense, one play of defense, and that's it. It's not even fun. It's just it's not even fun. I mean, it's not fun to watch all 22 of anything with the Raiders. So it's what it is.
I'll probably watch it, but there won't be a lot online.
All right, Raider Nation. Take care, Ryan. Have a good night, brother.
Until Sunday. Short week this week for us.
Short week. Maybe that'll help out the team and take a short week. All right.
Maybe they'll have another team meeting and bury a football like Tony Sperano did.
Oh, bury a football. You see, that's what they should have done. They should have buried a football. That would have helped the Raiders. They buried a football. Oh my God.
Bury that call sheet on offense. That's what they should do.
I won't say bury a human being, so I won't say bury the coach. All right. Later.
All right. Later.